Hey everybody, hope you're all hanging in there. Um, Hope you're staying safe and healthy. Hope you new stay-at-home moms and dads and teachers are staying sane. We know, listen, it's a crazy time that we're in. We're with you. There's a lot of uncertainty going around, and we've been trying to send out a daily devotional. I hope you've been keeping track with them. I hope it's been as helpful to you as it has been for me. And so I wanted to come to you really quick and just share something that's been kind of rocking me a little bit. And so a couple years ago, my wife and I bought our first house, and I'm now to the point now where I can get up in the middle of the night and I can navigate out of my bedroom, down the hall, down the steps, through the dining room and into the kitchen if I need some water at night, and I don't need any light. I don't need any guidance. I'm good. Like, I can do it in the dark. I've done it enough times. I don't need any guidance. And we all know what happens when we walk into an unfamiliar space, maybe a house or a room, and there's no lights. We don't have our phone flashlight. It's pitch black. And the first thing we do is we throw our arms out in front of us to kind of to protect ourselves from the unknown, and we shut our eyes like that's going to help. And our stride becomes a shuffle, and we kind of just start trying to feel our way through the unknown. And I feel like that's kind of where we are right now in this crazy time. And I thought about if we woke up in a house and we needed to navigate to the kitchen, and there was no lights, and we'd never been in a house before, and it would do little to no good for us to pull from our own experiences. We've never been there before. It would help slightly maybe to ask somebody who's been in the house before, but the furniture could be rearranged. Things could be organized differently. We just don't know. There's a lot of unknown. And I think what we actually would need in that moment is for the owner of the house to come take us by the hand and escort us to the kitchen. And so I want to point us to a passage of scripture that I think illustrates that beautifully. And we see in Psalm 77, the psalmist is in the midst of a struggle. He's battling his flesh. He knows the truth, but he's still fighting his flesh, right? And so we'll pick up in verse 1. He says, I cry aloud to God, and he will hear me. In the day of my trouble, I seek the Lord. In the night, my hand is stretched out without wearying. So we see he's starting off on the right foot, right? Like, that's the answer, okay? We got to call out to the Lord, and we got to have confidence that he's going to hear us. But in verse 4, I think is where we could get to if we're not careful. We'll pick up in verse 4. He says, you hold my eyelids open. I am so troubled that I cannot speak. I consider the days of old, the years long ago. I said, let me remember my song in the night. Let me meditate in my heart. And so we see that he starts trying to call from his past experience. He starts trying to call from his song bank, if you will, of things to combat his flesh, right? I consider the days of old. Let me remember how things used to be. Let me remember my song in the night. My song in the night. And then because he does that, he begins to doubt the Lord. He says, will the Lord spurn forever and never again be favorable? Has his steadfast love forever ceased? Are his promises at an end for all time? Has God forgotten to be gracious? Has he in anger shut up his compassion? And I think maybe if we're honest, some of us may have been there. Some of us may be there in the future if we find ourselves drawing from our own strength. But I love what happens next. It says, Selah, meaning in this instance, he pauses. And what he does next is he remembers the Lord. He says, Verse 11, I will remember the deeds of the Lord. Yes, I will remember your wonders of old. I will ponder all your work and meditate on your mighty deeds. The language turns from my song in the night, I will meditate in my heart, to I will remember your works. What God is great like our God? You with your arm redeemed your people, the children of Jacob and Joseph. When the waters saw you, O God, when the waters saw you, they were afraid. Indeed, the deep trembled. The clouds poured out water. The skies gave forth thunder. Your arrows flashed on every side. The crash of your thunder was in the whirlwind. Your lightnings lighted up the world. The earth trembled and shook. Your way was through the sea, your path through the great waters, yet your footprints were unseen. You led your people like a flock by the hand of Moses and Aaron. You see, when we stop and we breathe and we remember the faithfulness of God, our confidence can be stirred. You see, he didn't just snatch confidence and the hope that he was looking for out of thin air, but he went back and he built it by remembering. It wasn't just something that he snapped his fingers and, oh, I have hope now, but he remembered the faithfulness of God. And so as believers, especially in the times of struggle, our struggle and our hope don't have to be mutually exclusive. Because of Jesus, we now have a hope that is beyond the grave, right? We have a hope that is everlasting, that is unlike any hope that this world has to offer. And so in our darkest of nights, on the most obscure paths, on the most unsure steps, we can struggle, but we can be people of hope in the midst of the struggle. And so let's be encouraged, let's take heart, and let's stop and breathe and remember the faithfulness of God over all of time and through all of our lives. And he's going to lead us through. He's going to take us by the hand, and he's going to lead us to the end of this. And so take heart, church. We love you guys. We're praying for you, and we're so excited to be together again soon.